I knew the Steel Garrote were up to no good.
No one ever plans anything nice in a hidden war camp, do they?
This isn't over, you know. Emerald Stair was just the beginning.
Ominous portents of doom. Need more of those for sure.
I hope you're ready to sleep with one eye open, because I doubt Ludwig sleeps at all. And after the send-off you gave the Steel Garrote squad in that cave, she'll have it out for you.
Thank you for saying what so often goes unsaid. The Steel Garrote are born of madness and intolerance. Nothing more.
Normally, I'm not big on turning on your own, but the Steel Garrote take their beliefs too far. I'm glad you didn't let them do it here. You could have fooled me. Ludwig talks to Heelgard like a wayward cabin boy. I wonder if he's got the backbone to withstand her. Well, not you, though. You didn't hesitate. Your kind of clarity is rare. To know in the moment what you've got to do and do it. I envy that.
Kai's always doing things to help others, no matter the cost. It's going to get him killed one day.
You two are gonna make me blush. And purple's not my best color. But, thanks. Just be on the lookout. The Steel Garrote isn't likely to forgive and forget. Good thing you're asking the expert. You're asking me? I'm not much of a gossip. Okay, who do you want to know about? She's got a lot of heart, and she's loyal to her people and their principles, even when it costs her. Giada's lost her home, but kept her resolve. It takes a special kind of person to weather what she has and emerge stronger for it. She'll have a lot to figure out after all this, but she's gonna be okay. I noticed that too. It says a lot. I can't say what I'd want the future of Animancy to look like, but there's no one I'd trust more than Giada to figure it out. Sure. Get some rest, Envoy.
We should talk. What happened to Fior Messiverno could have been worse. A lot worse. But that doesn't mean the living land is safe. If anything, it's more dangerous by far. And in my case, it's inevitable. No matter where Animancers go, someone is always trying to kill us. Nothing enrages the gods more than mortals in pursuit of knowledge. Don't worry. I plan to hold the mortals accountable. As many of them as it takes. Listen to me. A failed Animancer lashing out at everything in reach. Even with all the tools at my disposal. I couldn't stop the Dream Scourge. And I couldn't save my people. How do I live up to my family's example when I can't even help myself? I do. My parents died pursuing a better future for Animancers. I can't let their sacrifice be for nothing. And right now, that's all it is. I have some pondering to do. Let me know if there's anything else. Sending my people to Thirdborn. It's a good arrangement. They get a roof over their heads. The city gets Animancers. And everyone gets along. For once. We should try to harness that goodwill. Or replicate it, like an energy source. On the other hand, maybe not. Look, I know you didn't come to this island to help us. And yet you were here when others would have looked away. Despite everything that happened, it means a lot. We all deserve better. But fate decided otherwise. Well, onward to better things. If you need anything, you know where to find me. What's on your mind? Ah, you want a story? Very well. Settle in. It all started about 50 years ago, in the great city of Spirento. A young nobleman by the name of Maxim Vidaro sought to inherit a distinguished government position. We'll get to that. A distant cousin cheated Maxim out of the title. He was devastated, his political future uncertain. No one lifted a finger to help. Not the banks, not the merchants, or the politicians. So, Maxim did what Valians do best. Not exactly, but close. Maxim plotted his revenge. They say he prayed to Scan, the effigy, god of rebellion and defiance, to ask for a blessing. And Scan answered. Take their best and brightest, their heirs, their scholars, their futures, to the far side of the world, never to return. And Maxim did just that. He gathered a following and left the Valian republics, giving thanks to his dark god. We prefer to call it an intellectual haven of free thinkers, but it's true that most of us are animancers. Spirento was full of animancers, many of them in debt, and Maxim was a wealthy patron. They needed each other. So the animancers followed Maxim all the way out here, including my parents, Quilici, and others around town. At the time, this place was an animancer's dream. No oversight, limited government, and soil rich with essence. 40 years later, Maxim vanished. They say the effigy came to collect his soul. Of course, you and I know better. He died peacefully, content that what he made would outlast him. And now, thanks to you, Fior Mesiverno might very well stand for another 50 years. Putting down a Steel Garrote battalion is a little more than help. You saved lives. Thanks for listening. We should do this again.
I love a good ghost story. Just not the dreams I have afterwards.
Hadn't heard all that before. Probably a lesson or two in there.
One of these days you'll have to tell me an Adiran ghost story. You learn a lot about people by what scares them. Let me think. Quilici has a girlfriend, as cute as a button, and as smart as an archmage. That isn't a secret. I'm just happy for him. Have you heard of the incident at Beldereno Pass? 20 settlers lost their lives in a winter storm. Ever since, people have heard ghostly cries from a nearby cave. Fascinating, isn't it? Tragic, of course, but fascinating. Sorry to disappoint you, but I haven't heard anything new of late. Being an outcast means being out of the loop. What do you want to know? Anyone in particular? I warn you, I'm not the best judge of first impressions. Kai is a useful fellow. We need people like him to keep you grounded. Just not too grounded. On the surface, Kai is all charm and confidence. You feel good knowing he's around. But there's something deeper. Something in his core that he guards from everyone. Maybe even himself. Kai wears his confidence like a mask. We all do. No one wants to project their frailties. But in his case, Hiding behind it amplifies his better qualities. So I say, let him have his mask. If there's another side to him, he'll show us when he's good and ready. No need to rush a natural process. Marius is working through something. An old wound that hasn't healed. A search for forgiveness? Who knows? He's a tough fellow, but I wouldn't put too much pressure on him. Good question. Mental and emotional pressure, specifically. Marius could hunt the great western stag if he set his mind to it, but his own feelings elude him. When he wants to find himself, give him room to do so, but don't push him. Just be there to catch him. We haven't been together long, but I think I have you figured out. In Paradise, you killed your killer. Some would call that justice. Others would call it vengeance. But who am I to judge? In your shoes, I might have done the same. You saved Fiorme Siverno from a terrible fate. That makes you a hero in our eyes. Of course, all I know is what you've done. You may not think these choices reflect who you are. At the end of the day, you shouldn't care what anyone thinks. All that matters is how you see yourself. I've spilled all the gossip I know. Ask me again when there's a new face in camp. I suppose you deserve to know, after what I put you through. My mother wanted to expand Fiore's agriculture. Feeding Emerald Stair wasn't ambitious enough. She wanted to feed the world. She thought she could break the wilderness, using animancy as the whip. Turn the living lands into a garden. Anything's possible, but there are significant problems to overcome. After my father put the finishing touches on the phantasmal focus, she was impatient to get started. After all, whoever controls the spirit of the living lands has nature in the palm of their hand. My father thought so too. Emerald Stair was just the beginning to her. My father thought she was brilliant. Others thought she was mad. I think she was a victim of her own ambition. She wanted so much, and there was so little time to achieve it. Theoretically, her plan should have worked. The living lands had other ideas. When she used the phantasmal focus, theory collided with reality. Everything went wrong. I can't rule anything out, but I suspect the Dream Scourge had something to do with it. It lives in the essence of the living lands, corrupting whatever it touches. And if I'm right, that means it's been here a long time, or the forces behind it. No. To my knowledge, the accident was no everyday occurrence. But neither was the experiment. My mother transgressed on nature, on existence itself. Still, I don't understand what went wrong. When I do, then I can finish her work. I was 17. That makes it... Gods, has it been 13 years already? After they died, I wouldn't go near a lab. It was ages before Kolichi got me to crack open a book. I have a lot of catching up to do in my studies. Need to make up for lost time. Don't worry. I've lived with it for a while now. I thought my family's research could help Emerald Stair. That it could banish the Dream Scourge from our lands. Of course, Vidaro wouldn't even give me a chance. He was afraid of history repeating itself. Still, I'm hopeful. This legacy of mine could change Animancy as we know it. And something tells me I'm close to a breakthrough. Closer than my mother ever got. Good question. The idea of finishing my parents' work gives me a warm feeling. But do I want it? I know I've got one lifetime, and I want to do something with it. Very good. You know your metaphysics. This is the one life where I am Giada Castel, Animancer extraordinaire. In the next life, I could be an idiotic tree. I have an obligation to use the time I have. No Animancer has engineered an ecosystem before. Maybe, with a little luck, I could be the first. Well, my future is in shambles, and I have no idea what to do next. Oh, and my home is under attack by the acolytes of an insane witch god. Apart from that, fine. Truthfully, I'm a bit lost. Leaving Fior Messiverno was supposed to be liberating. We've seen and done incredible things, but I'm no closer to finishing my family's work. The Dream Scourge? Through animancy, I can harness the wild essence of the living lands and put it to good use. But what if I tried, only to have it lash out and destroy me? I'd be no better off than my parents. The Dream Scourge is infecting our Adra, holding back my work. Until I understand it, until I can control it, I can't do anything. I'm useless. I'm nothing. Let's hope we live long enough to see this garden of yours. Quilici always told me to slow down, to stop and appreciate the land I'm trying so hard to fix. But how can I slow down when I only have one lifetime to get this right? I'll find answers in the garden, for better or worse. That little island off of Dawnshore? None that I know of. Ignato Casto led the Valian trading company in the Deadfire archipelago. Among other things, he invested in the future of animancy, and apparently he had interests here. I hope not. I wouldn't want my family associated with speculation, corruption, and whatever else happened in the Deadfire. We have enough problems already. He had some ideas about moving great distances in the blink of an eye. As far as I know, he was unsuccessful. Animancy and ambition are a dangerous mixture. Intoxicating, but dangerous. Afraid not. I've heard a lot of contradictory stories coming out of the Deadfire in recent years. Some say Castle is still in power, while others think his second-in-command took over the Valian trading company. You know how it is. Wherever there's conflict, there's bound to be misinformation. Unfortunately, that's all I know. Whether or not Castle succeeded, I don't think it's folly to dream. Now that you mention it, I did try and awaken my soul, to become fully aware of my past lives. Every animancer tries, and fails. It's practically a rite of passage. So, one evening, I crept into the workshop and cobbled an invention together from spare parts. Amateur work. Then I turned it on. Big mistake. The next thing I knew, it was morning. I was floating in the fountain, and my head was pounding like a drum.
You don't need animancy for that. Just rum and a crew on shore leave.
That answers a lot of questions, honestly.
Sometimes I wonder, what if it actually worked? What if all of this happened before, and I'm just reliving the events of a past life? I try not to think about it too much. Ah, a simple question with a very complicated answer. The device is attuned to the spiritual energy of the living lands, much like a compass to magnetic north. But essence is chaotic by nature. As you saw with your own eyes, imposing order on chaos is not without risk. Indeed. Don't get me wrong, this invention is a small miracle, but it isn't enough. The phantasmal focus was supposed to be the start of something grand. One lever of a device that exists only in theory. Perhaps it should remain that way. Go on then, I'm listening. Pleasant dreams.
Envoy, it's clear that no matter what happened, these people couldn't stay in Fior. Just not sure you did the right thing. These people won't survive long in a place like Thirdborn. Thirdborn is a rough town. They literally do their business inside the skeleton of a Leviathan. If you thought Paradise's docks were rough, just wait. Plus, they have a knobfish curry that will peel your tongue. Right, changing the subject. Right. I'm sure you'll find it absolutely gripping. Go ahead. I'll tell you whatever you want to know. As you know, Kai and I have worked together in the past. It's a blessed miracle he never got me killed. Honestly, he's a good guy. A bit too quick to ask questions for my taste, but... Kai's good enough. Tell him I said that I'll cut a hole in your water skins. Fine. You've been patient enough, I suppose. Right. Solace isn't an easy place to live. The food is stale and meager. The water tastes like steel and old meat. Everyone knows everyone else. No privacy, no silence, no time to yourself. I'm a wilderness expert. I can get privacy whenever I want it. Solace is a walled keep in the harshest region of the lands. Isolated is an understatement. Honestly, all of that was fine. But there was a peculiar kind of silence I didn't love. Nimdut, I was being dramatic. I have only the faintest memories of my parents, which was fine. I had friends and mentors and trainers and elders. When I asked about my real parents, though, they just told me I was safe now, and that the Wardens were my family. I never knew if my parents were alive or dead. I like to assume that they had died fighting some giant monster in the Tusks, but no one would say. When I asked for more, they changed the subject, like I wasn't worthy of a backstory. I mean, I know the important part. I'm from Solace, for whatever that's worth. My oldest memories are of Solace. My oldest friend is from there. Maybe, maybe not. I've learned to stop worrying about it. Right. I'm sure you'll find it absolutely gripping. Go ahead. I'll tell you whatever you want to know. Giada's a mystery to me. Animancers give me the vricus, and for good reason. Most of them would just as soon turn your soul into jewelry as look at you. Giada seems different. She's smart, thoughtful, and she's got a spine, too. You can tell when someone needs extra help out here, and she doesn't. So, yeah, I don't understand her, but I guess I don't have to, really. Pleasant dreams.
Did they not glow in the light? Her parents, her sentinels. To grow and flourish still, life without rot, form without death. The lake dries. Prune the bellflowers. Why should anything wilt? Endless spring. They breathe, they flower, they will never fade. Apple into seed. We think not. They have blossomed now. They sing in peace. Was it not worth the change? Do we not? The bear would have spent its days in the wood. They are strong now, vibrant, better than their frail shells. man alive. No suffering, no end. Sleep now. Dream of beauty and new life. We will speak soon.
We're nearing the Zarup camp. The farmer said these Zarups weren't acting hostile, but...
I'd like a word.
Gods.
A moment of your time, if you please. From one Adiran to another. What a colorful grasp of language you have. You interfered in our plans. Take it from me, Inquisitor Ludwig isn't at all pleased. In that case, maybe it's not too late to make amends.
You lost the fight for Emerald Stair, and now you ask for peace? Don't make me laugh.
Hear me out. That's all I ask. Believe it or not, the Steel Garrote owe you an apology on behalf of Inquisitor Ludwig.
Bring us her severed head, and I'll consider it.
That temperament of yours is exactly the problem she's trying to solve. Our soldiers were poised to attack Fior Messiverno. If you had been made aware, you would not have interfered. You might not want to admit it, but Fior Messiverno is a settlement in decline. Weak government, chaotic farming, dangerous research. What exactly do you think you saved?
My home, which you have no right to condemn.
You've done nothing but condemn it. Shouting matches with the governor, open defiance.
I fight for my home because I cherish it, you shit-eating worm. Because I want us to survive.
Then I hope you enjoy the consequences of your actions. Fior Messiverno's reliance on animancy and stubborn individualism has done nothing but drag the living lands down with them. Any good farmer knows when to put down an injured animal. Look, I'm only telling you this because you deserve to know Ludwig's intentions for the living lands. If Heelgard cannot maintain a grip on the living lands, then the Steel Garrote will simply take it from him. You see, the Steel Garrote answer to the Burned Queen, not your floundering empire. And we will break from Adir if that's what it takes. And while he frets in the throne room, his puppy dog soldiers will chase their own tails. Inquisitor Ludwig sees something in you, Envoy. She wants to cultivate your potential, as she did mine. You don't want to get between her and the fate of the living land, so let this serve as a warning. Our grasp on this island is going to tighten, even if it costs us allies along the way. Acceptable losses. What you do with this information is up to you, but don't get in our way a second time. It won't end well. Feel free to prove us wrong. The Steel Garrote love a challenge. Before I let you go, a little bird sang in my ear that you're going to Shatterscarp.
You might be evil, but you're well informed.
Of course, that would have been impossible with these meddlesome rangers in the way.
You didn't.
I took the liberty of removing them. It's a shame, really. Honorable folk to the last. That's a matter of perspective. Ludwig is keeping her dark impulses in check. It could have been far, far messier. When you arrive in Shatterscarp, give this letter to Temerity. Compliments of the Inquisitor. No need to keep you any longer. Let's hope our next meeting is under more favorable circumstances. You know, there's a depraved part of me that was hoping you'd make this interesting.
Let's make this a battle to remember.
I color shins.
quick!
Take a moment, people.
Gather round! You came to Emerald Stair looking for answers, and now we're leaving with more questions. How do we fight the Dream Scourge? What can we do about Sapadal? And where is the garden? Not to mention why the Steel Garrote attacked my fucking home. Who cares what she believes? What right have the dead to judge the living? We were lucky this time. My people will be on high alert, but that doesn't mean we're safe. The Steel Garrote are hunting anyone who doesn't conform to their vision of the living lands. Our freedom is on the line.
So on top of the Dream Scourge rotting your fields and turning kith and beast alike into monsters, now we've got a Death Guard Inquisitor and the Steel Garrote dogging our steps. Do you think Ludwig will try something similar in Thirdborn? Thirdborn's a rugged place that attracts rugged people. Lots of Rawatayans, scramble routes with no prospects back home, washouts from military or mercenary life, sailors in search of steady ground. Add to that a motley assortment of pirates, free spirits, and people who like living under the loosest grasp of the law, and you've got Thirdborn. But rumor has it something's amiss in Shatterscarp. Strange dreams, disappearances, people wandering into the desert and never returning, or coming back changed. Their bodies and minds twisted, corrupted. Some confused and disoriented like Belena, others violent like Adelaro.
At least that tells us we're on the right track. This Dream Scourge is one of the weirdest things I've ever tried to hunt. Right, the garden. Sure.
Everything we learned in Naku Tadek points us to the garden. Thirdborn is just a stepping stone. But we don't know anything about the garden. It could be a myth or a metaphor. Whatever the garden is or isn't, it's our only lead. We find the garden, we find the Dream Scourge. Indeed, and deep roots waiting to be unearthed. Yatsley is a master of the unknown and the unknowable. No mystery eludes her for long. If there is a path to the garden, Yatsley can lead us to it. I'd follow her anywhere.
Or maybe that god poking around your soul could give us directions.
Ask for directions. Why didn't I think of that? Kai, that's brilliant. Whatever Sapadal tells us will be filtered through a lot of metaphysical noise, but it couldn't hurt to try. This is so exciting. Sapadal? It's Giada. Giada Castel. If you're listening, could you please tell us more about the garden?
Castel. Castel. Why does this name sing to us? A voice through murky water. The garden stifles the notes. We cannot reach. The branches bind.
Did you get anything? In other words, nothing we didn't already know. Well, at least we tried. Clearly your link to Sapadal isn't as strong as it was in Naku Tadek, but I'll take it over nothing.
I'll pass. I've heard too many ghost stories that start this way.
Right. If I wanted to waste time, that's what I carry a flute for.
Just me then. Really? No one else has a question for the god of the living lands? Fascinating.
So let me see if I got this straight. We're looking for the garden, which might not exist. Our best lead is Yatsley, an eccentric scholar who's gone ahead to Thirdborn, where the Dream Scourge may be ravaging.
Don't look at me. I was fine going back to Paradise. Stop. You're aggravating my ulcer.
Listen, I hate to ask this, but while we're in Shatterscarp, there's something I need to do. Something I owe Tama. There's an old battlefield near some Pogrunan ruins. Area called the Shark's Teeth. Tama lost his badge there. I need to get it. Thanks.
Takes courage to go back for something you lost. I wouldn't have it in me.
Get some rest. Sleep is good for the soul. I wanted to say, for all of its imperfections, Fiormesi Verno deserves a second chance. Thanks to you, it has one. I won't forget it. No need to question it anymore. They've made their intentions clear. Just to be safe, we should remain vigilant. Sleep in shifts. Look after each other. Rest while you can. Our enemies are organized, but so are we.
Let's get some rest. We have a long day ahead of us. So, animancy, huh?
Indeed. A vibrant tapestry of art, research, and spirituality.
Sounds interesting. I mean, the souls and whatnot.
Are you curious about the soul? Yours, or maybe someone else's?
No, just, talking.
Talking is good. If you're ever curious about animancy, you know where to find me.
Right. Good talk. Good talk.
Thank you again for letting me join you. An animancer never misses an opportunity to embrace the unknown. Still, being an animancer feels different without Fior Mesiverno. For the first time, I don't have to prove myself to anyone. It'll take some getting used to, that's for sure. At least now I have a place I can call my own. Believe me, that's plenty. It's a shame we had to meet under these circumstances. Plague, war, maybe the end of the living lands. I can't wait to find out how. I enjoy seeing the world through your eyes. Despite everything that's happened, you always know where to find hope. Keep it that way. You know me, always ready with an answer. I'm afraid not. I've spent a little time in Dawnshore, but this place is a mystery to me. It's good to be somewhere different. Somewhere I can build new memories. Whenever I'm reminded of how big this island really is, it makes my problems feel smaller. What do you want to know? Pleasant dreams.
Right. Give me a minute. There's a lot going on right now. I do. I'm just not sure that's where we need to go. Growing up, I heard stories of a garden in the center of the living lands. I thought they were just stories. No one living had ever gone there, but we were just supposed to protect it. No one has ever been there as long as anyone knows. There's legends, right, but nothing more. Nandru's the only one who went to the garden and made it back, which is interesting because you kind of look like him. Founder of Solace, lived centuries ago. More or less the biggest hero in Galawain's tusks. You have the same kind of face things from what I've seen. You know, the, fungus stuff. Well, yeah, at first. There's been a lot more reasons to do that since then. There's a resemblance, sure, but no one alive has ever seen Nandru other than a few statues and descriptions and legends. And we're talking about oral legends, passed down for centuries. Who knows what's true and what's dramatic license? I guess. I wouldn't put too much faith in it. There's just a lot of stuff from the old times that isn't as true as we think it is. A lot changes here over centuries. Like the garden. Even if someone knew how to get there, they knew it hundreds of years ago. Who knows if the garden even exists anymore? I don't. You seem to talk to Sappadal in dreams and visions. Maybe you can find something that way. Look, this gods and magic stuff isn't my expertise. Come find me when you need an antivenom for a windsnake bite. I need to get some rest before I get all worked up. Grab me when you're ready to go.
Hey, I wanted to talk to you about what happened in Emerald Stair. I know your Emperor sent you here to represent Adir. With the Steel Garrote trying to raise Fior has got to make things harder for you. You saved lives. Of course that counts. But that doesn't make it easy. The cruelty behind the Steel Garrote's plans. It's hard to reconcile that with the place you've called home. I just wanted to know how you're feeling about all this. I hear that. Unfortunately, I don't think this situation is going to get any easier. It makes venturing through the treacherous wild seem like a relief. Anyway, I just want to check in with you. This may be your burden, but you don't have to carry it alone. What's on your mind? A marker of his service to Thirdborn's defense, and something that helps his comrades identify his remains, if needed.
You always hope it won't come to that.
You hope it won't, but you know it might. It's an old Rauatayan naval tradition that Thirdborn's kept alive, and another debt I owe him. Where to start? It's a huge desert full of sandy wastes, canyons, and highlands. On a clear day, you can stand at one of the overlooks to gaze straight across the Great Sand Sea and see no end to the dunes. Yeah, it's dangerous and stark. A lot like Rauatai, but in a different way. Sandstorms instead of typhoons. Guess that's part of what I liked about it. Familiar, but different. The story goes that a lot of the first arrivals were Rauataians without other prospects, too low on the ladder to take over the family trade, too poor to learn another. Exactly. Rauatai's an inhospitable environment, to say the least, so my people have a proud tradition of seeking our fortunes elsewhere. Rauatai's got a big navy that always needs fresh blood, and there are plenty of opportunities for large, colorful mercenaries and bodyguards all over Aora. Of course not. We've also got poets, artisans, scholars, traders, you name it, just like anywhere else. But they're not the ones who built Thirdborn. It started as a convenient harbor for pirates and mercs to lie low. Bold, or desperate, fishing crews from Rauatai would follow seasonal catches out here. That tells you something about the people willing to attempt it. Over time, those early arrivals built huts, a proper harbor, and walls to protect them from all the hungry things in the desert. Well, that brought in a steady trickle of veterans, ruffians, trophy hunters, and rugged eccentrics. People looking for fresh adventure, or running from the consequences of their old ones. Your words, not mine. Night, envoy.
You smell death here.
Listen to me. Look here. Can you focus on my voice? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm just dizzy.
Nothing more shameful than a soldier who lost their grip.
Fucking bastards!
That last pack gouged a hole through our ranks. How many did you lose?
Too many. Not even counting the ones we had to put down because they turned into dream thralls.
I had to put down 3 good men myself. Telling their family. That was worse.
Don't talk to me like you're the only one who understands hardship. I'm going to be facing down a mutiny soon.
You think we want to be here? Think again.
So leave. I can't wait to see the last of you and your people.
And go where? Nothing but death waiting out there. Better we die with honor.
Another Adiran, Kutabao.
Hold on. This isn't one of mine. Or Ludwig's. You must be the envoy Hilgard told me about.
Well, you picked a damn fine time to show up.
Drowning in salt water would have been preferable. Dream Thralls ambushed us an hour ago. We're still counting the dead.
Our dead, to be precise.
We lost soldiers too, protecting your people.
Yes, how heroic. Protecting Kith from Adiran dream thralls. Look around you, Envoy. Our kith don't wear your fancy armor.
We don't have time to argue. The Dream Scourge has been ravaging our camp.
In all their military might, your adhering comrades decided to go wandering through the desert, despite my advice. And now we're all paying for their idiocy. Thirdborners and adherents alike.
We've since pulled back to Eagle's Reach until more reinforcements arrive to contain the Dream Thralls. Whatever your intentions here, Envoy, it's not worth it. Better to go back to Paradise where it's safe.
I doubt you're particularly needed in Thirdborn, of all places.
I'm sorry, Envoy. I don't recognize the name.
Of course, that strange Orlan scholar. She came through not too long ago. Should be in town by now. Before you go, Envoy, Kith aren't too keen on adherents at the moment. Rumor of what happened in Fjord is already starting to spread. Just watch your back, all right?
Good luck, Envoy. Gods protect you.
They're not fighting over territory, they're fighting over who's suffered the most. We live in unusual times.